everyone. It's me, Lizette Castaneda with Hotel Industry Talk. I'm so excited. I have Marisa Obando here with Visit Plano. Welcome, Marisa.
Thank you. Hey, girl.
Hey, I know. I'm so excited you're doing this. And I wanted to ask before we get started with authentic questions, even though this is one of them, Mo on the go. You started
Yes.
that, and how did that come about?
Okay, so when I started with Visit Plano, I've been with Visit Plano just about 4 years. So when I first started, I went to, I think, about 8 to 10 shows in the first 6 months of being with the city, just with different alignments and people either on leave or not in the office and not able to travel. And so I was just let get me out there. I want people to know who I am. Coming from the hospitality world, I had been in hotels for 13, 14 years, but always on the planning side. So a lot of these event planners had no idea really who I was, because I was really working with the direct planner, not necessarily the sourcing people. So although I wasn't new to the hospitality world, I really wanted to get my name and face out there to the city. So my initials are M-O, and so Mo is my nickname. And so then Mo on the Go was formed. And so now it's become kind of a whole networking kind of identity, and people actually recognize me because of the hashtag. In the wild, it actually happened to me last week when I was in Philadelphia, and people recognized me. They'd never met me before, but they knew me from Mo on the Go. So obviously it's doing something right.
That's so good. I loved it so much, and I thought very clever, and I think it's like your personal branding. So great job. I love it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what's always in your luggage? Because you travel a lot. So what is something you absolutely have to take with you everywhere you go?
Yeah, so my big essentials are always 2 to 3 backup outfits. I'm definitely an overpacker, and unfortunately you would think all the time I've traveled I would have learned to pack lightly, but I like to have options. And as you know, being in the traveling world, sometimes you need a change of clothes because, the weather changes, or you're oh, it's a theme party tonight. Yeah. So I like to have options. And recently, one of my traveling friends lost her luggage, so she had an accessory of clothes to borrow from me. And so I like to have a backup always. Another essential that I travel with always is liquid IV. I feel like we never hydrate enough during these conferences. You're always running, you're talking, you barely have time to take a break. And so I feel like always starting the day and ending the day with that is super helpful to keep you motivated. And then my recent addition is a travel facial eye roller to keep in the fridge overnight, since we're networking all night and meeting with clients, and so sometimes you don't get a good night's rest, and so I like to have that to feel refreshed in the morning.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna have to message you after so you can send me what you use.
Well, and the gua sha things are really big now too. I have not yet converted to that yet.
Yeah, nice. Now, I'm assuming because you said overpacker, you are a checked bag person, right?
Absolutely. Doesn't matter if it's for 2 nights or 20 nights. I'm always checking a bag. Thankfully, with my status, I get 2 free checked bags, so even better. But I'm always at the cusp of the 49 pounds exactly to the T, because you never know how many shoes you need, how many changes of outfits, and then obviously the accessories and everything to go along with it.
Yeah, same. I love it. I love the way you dress, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. Now, you live in Texas, so what is your favorite city outside of where you live in Texas?
I know that's hard. I feel like I don't want the other Texas cities to think I'm playing favorites. So I'm going to go with a PC answer because I've lived in Texas for over 20 years, and there's still so many parts that I've not even discovered yet. But my favorite part of Texas right now is the Hill Country area. So anywhere in the Austin, Fredericksburg area. It's just such a unique part of Texas, and especially being from the North Texas area, which is mostly flat, it's just a beautiful part of Texas to experience.
Yeah, I know. I'm heading over to Austin soon, and I haven't had a chance to really explore the outside of it, but I did go to Fredericksburg, which is such a cute little
cute.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
I loved
lots of fun little wineries and cute little German towns, so it's definitely a must-see.
Awesome. Now, when you're traveling to stay energized, is it coffee, tea, or what are you taking after a long day of networking?
It should be water, right? With the liquid IV. But for me, I like to stay super caffeinated. So whether that's coffee, a flat white, and or an espresso martini is probably my preference. And currently my addiction right now. Or like something light, like bubbles, champagne, or something like that is my go-to.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right, so let's get started into these other set of questions. So your role involves constantly promoting your destination and collaborating with hotel partners, right? CVB, hotel relationships. What does a typical week look like for you, and how do you stay organized while you're on the job?
Yeah, so obviously we're in the office full time, which is sometimes unique to different destinations. I personally love it so that we can collaborate as a team together. And then we're kind of in the middle of, all of our hotel properties. So whether it's, a quick pop over to say hi to a hotel partner, or we have a client that's like, oh, by the way, I'm at your hotel, I'd love to see you. We're close enough and in the middle of everything. And so typical weekly kind of to do for me is really just checking in with my hotel partners, setting up site visits, really trying to work with the community to figure out, where are some of the new opportunities in the area to bring new exposure to the city. And so I handle the SMERF market for Plano. So a lot of that, I like to get involved with our local community because a lot of that, clientele is kind of already coming to our area. It's just about trying to get in front of them before maybe they find our destination. Staying on task for me, we do have obviously our database system with our task systems and things like that. But I'm also like a old school, like I like to write everything down, like a little to-do list, and cross it off when it's done. And so I do a lot of that, but obviously using my calendar is huge. Because if it's not on the calendar, it's like not happening. So I have like a calendar in front of me, a calendar on the computer, and then it's written to-do lists too.
Nice. Now, as far as challenges, because I worked for the CVB for a short period of time, and when I was on the hotel side, and it was in Southern California, I understood the value of like these relationships, right? Hotel, working with CVB, but how would you tell a hotelier like the benefit of partnering with you all? What is that value to them?
Yeah, I usually always like to tell our hotel partners, especially since I was an ex-hotelier, is that we really should be like your secret weapon. I've had so many clients, so many times share experiences with me that they've never been looped in to a CVB or a DMO before. I think a lot of times people think they have to have this big citywide to maybe have a city impact. But I like to stress the point that like we're there whether it's 50 people or 5,000 people. We want to make sure you have a great experience in our destination. And that's, I think, the thing that I really try to partner with our hotels on sharing that insight. They're the experts of their property, not necessarily the destination. And so for us, if we can come in and kind of save the day with sponsorship dollars or incentives, all those free added things that a lot of people aren't being offered maybe at other destinations, it makes that hotel partner look so much more impactful. Because for some reason people think like, when I show up, I'm like Mayor Mo. They're like, oh, the city's here. And how exciting that like they really want us here. Like they can't wait to have us here. They even loop someone in, from the city. And I have so many customers that are like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that they got you involved. Otherwise, we would never have known about these services. Coming from the DMO side, we go to all these shows, we promote, but it's virtually impossible to like obviously get in front of everyone before sometimes they find us and kind of share the value. And so I try my best to really keep the relationship just as, up close, I guess, with my hotel partners as I do the clients, because it's just as important for me to market myself to the hotels as it is to clients as well.
Yeah, and you're like the trusted advisor liaison between the client to coming to the city. So that's amazing. Sure. Thank you for sharing. Now, what are your top 3 tips for building and maintaining a meaningful industry connections? And you're really good about networking. So would love to hear your top 3 tips.
I think my biggest thing is like, just don't go in it like you're selling yourself. I think just be like authentic, like be yourself. Yeah. I always go into any type of networking event, conference, trade show the same way. I kind of look at it as like, I want to walk out of here making 30 plus new best friends. And if you go in it like that, like you're just kind of being yourself, then it's not as intimidating. I think sometimes, especially like younger business professionals, you know, you're kind of in and you're like, oh, I gotta like meet this many people and I have to like sell my product, and then you want to like feature dump everything onto them, and they're not going to remember that. At the end of the day, it's like, oh, I love your blouse, or I love your necklace. It's like, where did you get that? And then you talk about your love of TJ Maxx, and then it's a whole other thing about being a Maxxinista and how you go all out of state to all the TJ Maxxes. So I think it's sometimes finding, especially that like common thread of similarities to build on that foundation of that relationship, and it's huge and so much more impactful, and that's what people remember. You know, I think people love to share about themselves, so if you remember too something specific about them, about their fiance, about their dog, you know, about different hobbies that they have, people love that. And I think that that's what makes it obviously impactful and people remember you.
Yeah, that's such a great tip. I went to is it CMCA? Oh, gosh. Okay, I went there a few years ago, or maybe it's been 5 years, I can't recall, but there was somebody who said when they were announcing before going into our one-on-one sessions, they said exactly what you said. Listen, you want to get to know people. No one's going to remember your sales pitch. No one's going to remember the amount of properties you have and where you have them, but they will remember your favorite dog, your favorite coffee. They will remember your favorite vacation spot. So great tip, because I think that honestly, I learned to network better that way. And then eventually you talk business, right? It's the follow-up.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And that's, I think, another thing is like go to these networking events, but also follow up afterwards. Don't just be like, oh, I went, check that off the list of my, you know, prospecting for the month or whatever that is. Like, you have to be consistent. And I think that's another thing too, is the more people see you being involved in different organizations, whether it's your local, you know, chapter of MPI or, you know, different organizations in the community, I think like the more and more they see your involvement, then obviously people remember that too.
Yeah. Oh, all this. I love all this stuff. So how has networking shaped your career, and in what ways has it opened doors for you that might not have been open otherwise?
Yeah, I think for me, it was just like really expanding, you know, my knowledge of this side of hospitality, especially when I first started. You know, I was kind of felt like a fish out of water coming from hotels to CVB shift. Even though it does work hand in hand, it was very different, I'm sure, as you can attest to. So for me, it was really just meeting as many people as I could and really understanding kind of like the bones of the industry to kind of figure out like, oh, I can call this person to help me with this. And it's all about not necessarily building a network of people that are going to bring you business, but building a network of people that are going to help you grow, you know, career-wise, strategically, leadership-wise, to kind of get you, I think, to your next steps.
Yeah, really good, really good. Now, going back to, I know we talked about the value of hotel partnerships with CVB. How do you think hotels might be able to collaborate better with the CVBs, and what actions should they take on their side?
Yeah, I think maybe just like trusting kind of the CVB partner a little bit more. And that obviously is something that, you know, we have to work hand in hand with our hotel partners to build that bridge and that gap. But for me, like I always tell my hotel partners, like, let's do sales calls together, whether it's in our area or whether we go, you know, to Colorado Springs and do sales calls to nonprofits, or maybe we're doing fraternity calls in Indianapolis together. So really trying to hopefully like collaborate on those initiatives, or if they have something that they're spearheading, to try to piggyback on that. And just like trying to be involved, and like anytime, like I always tell my hotels too, like if you have a site visit and you're trying to close this piece of business and you've thrown out all of your efforts, let us be like your last stitch to kind of swoop in and hopefully come and save the day. To try to bring, you know, added value to the client to hopefully, you know, get them to our destination.
Yeah, and I think too, when I think about that's really good as far as like a resource. You guys are an extension of their sales department. So I remember telling other hoteliers, like, we are an extension of your entire department. We're trying to sell it with you, bring clients to the overall city, but we want them to stay here and stay with you, right? So to your point, it's like getting them to trust that. And I think honestly, the way to do that is just to step into it, right? To contact you guys and really collaborate together.
For sure, for sure.
Now, really focusing on the future hoteliers out there, future, destination managers or CVBers. I don't,
Yeah, I don't know like what the name of that is.
yeah. What advice would you give someone about growing their professional network, and standing out in this industry outside of like really just the networking piece?
Yeah, I think like obviously really being active on LinkedIn is huge. And as we talked about earlier, that's been a huge part of my kind of growth and people getting to know not only Mo on the go, but also Plano as well, because people like to see what you're doing and then clients also recognize that. So you kind of have to advertise and promote that as well. And I think just getting involved in different organizations. So whether that's like MPI or different associations or different, affiliations to kind of grow your career in the area, and like volunteering like for your local chapters too, I think is huge, because then it also gets you added exposure to meet people, especially maybe for those people that are like maybe a little bit eerie about like the networking aspect, because I get it, like some people aren't extroverts like us, like they can't just talk to anyone, I totally get that. But I also suggest always finding like a networking buddy, because it's never fun like sometimes going to an event alone. So especially starting out, I always tell people, I'm like, find a buddy or like take a friend or take a coworker or someone with you, so it's like not as intimidating. For me, I pride myself in like when I go to an event, whether it's networking, conference, trade show, I like to introduce every single person I know to like basically everyone, because that way they're expanding their network. And then like if they're at a show together, it like makes me so proud, because then they're like friends again, and then they're like paying it forward and introducing people. And I think that's like the biggest thing that we can do as industry partners, whether you're a CVB, hotelier, is if you're standing in a group and you don't see people talking, say like, oh, actually, have you met her? And she's with this hotel or she's with this city. And I think that's huge for people.
Yeah, and I won't share this story, but I appreciate you so much, Marisa, because I know when we met, similar situation, I remember being kind of by myself. I think it was probably my second show, and maybe it was CMCA, and or were we in Austin?
We were in Kalahari. It was
okay, that's right.
Yeah.
So you're right. When you're new and you don't know anybody, there's that awkward feeling, and you really did kind of take my hand and say like, hey, listen, this is this group of people, and I had so much fun. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah, we'll never forget that memory for sure.
Now, is there anything else you want to leave anybody with before we say goodbye?
No, I think just have fun with it. I think that at the end of the day, I always tell myself, like, we're not saving lives, we're really just being a connector. And I feel like when people, feel welcome and warm with you, it goes down to this added thing is people want to do business with people they like.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, although we all have beautiful hotel properties and beautiful event venues and all this great, scenery, it's all comes down to the relationship. And I think that's like just the basic. And at the end of the day, it's just be yourself, have fun with it, and just be a relatable person, I think is like the best piece of advice I think I can do. And that's all I have.
Oh, that's so great. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm excited
thanks for having me. I'm excited.
You're welcome. I know. I'll post this on LinkedIn. You probably have been seeing some of the others. I like to do little sneak peeks. So stay tuned, everybody. Excited to share what Marisa Obando has to say with you all. And we will talk soon. Bye.
Thanks so much.